Greetings, this is M squared, and we're going to solve some word problems that deal with linear inequalities, not equations. So if you remember this, what these things mean: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and the words that are sometimes used for that. And then we have less than and greater thans and less thans and what you sometimes see. There are others, so I encourage you to make a big chart and to keep adding to it words that you find that mean those things. So the directions say define a variable and write an inequality for each problem and then solve. So the first thing we want to do is say what our variable is going to be. That's what define a variable means. It says the difference of twice a number and 7 is at most 13. The number is our variable. So we're going to say let the number equal x. It doesn't matter what you say. You could say any letter, but that's our number. So now I like to read it again with that in mind. So this is no longer a number, it's x. The difference of twice x, get rid of the a, twice x and 7 is at most 13. So I like to go step by step. What does difference mean? Difference means minus. And the word and is really important because the word and separates the two things that I'm subtracting. So it's the difference of twice a number. What does twice a number? It means 2 times. So I'm going to put 2 times. That's twice a number. So now this whole thing right here is a 2x. So the difference of 2x and 7, and is where my minus sign goes. And then now I have the difference of 2x and 7. That's the difference of 2x and 7. Is at most. If it just said is, a lot of times that means equals, but now it's is at most. If I am at most something, that means that is the absolute most it could be, or it could be less than. So sometimes people get confused because they think is at most must mean greater than, but it doesn't. It actually means less than, because this is the most it could be. So we're looking for all the options that are less than it. And if it can be at most 13, it could also include 13. So if you're making a chart, you would want to put is at most under this one, the less than or equal to. So now we have defined our variable over here. We have written an inequality, and now we have to solve. So the solving part usually is the easier part of the word problem. So we're going to add 7 to both sides. We're going to get 2x is less than or equal to 20. And when we divide both sides by 2, we get x is less than or equal to 10. And it doesn't ask us to graph here, so we don't need to bother with that. You could also pick a number that's bigger than, that's less than 10, and see if it works. We could pick 4. If we put a 4 in here, what's 2 times 4? It's 8. 8 minus 1. Is that less than or equal to 13? Yeah. So that's one way to check, is just to pick a number in your set. Okay, let's try the next one. A number decreased by 20 is greater than or equal to twice the same number increased by 5. So the first thing we want to do is define our variable. So we're going to say let our number equal y. We'll say y this time. Okay, so now instead of a number, I like to put y. Sometimes I do that. I just cross it off and put y. And then I read it again. Y decreased by 20 is greater than or equal to twice y increased by 5. So this is where is greater than or equal to. That's where our inequality goes. And if we look up here, is greater than or equal to means greater than or equal to. That's a pretty easy one. So I'm going to put that in the middle. Then I'm going to work on this side. Y decreased by 20. That's difference or subtraction. Notice it's y and then I decrease by 20. So the y has to come first and then the minus 20. So y decreased by 20 is greater than or equal to twice y is 2y. Increased by means added. So I'm going to increase it by 5. So there is my inequality. Now I have to solve it. So I'm going to, because there's bigger y's on the right side, I'm going to move my y's to the right side. and then that means I'm going to move my numbers to the left side. So those cancel, and those cancel. So I get negative 25 is greater than or equal to y. I didn't multiply or divide by a negative, so I don't need to switch the inequality. Some people don't like the inequality over here. If you want to switch sides, that's fine. You just have to switch this sign too. So it was greater than. If you want y to be on that side, you just have to change it to a less than. So these are equal, these two expressions. So negative 25 is bigger than or equal to y, or y is less than or equal to negative 25. We defined our variable, we wrote an inequality, and we solved. That's what they asked us to do. Good luck with that. Just keep a chart, keep it handy, go step by step, especially when you're translating these problems. This is M Squared, signing out.